and gentlemen, welcome to UTR Presents Bad Blood Episode 9. This is Episode 2 of the second season of Interview with the Vampire. It's me, the GREG, the co-founder of the NAAFP, joined by a special guest today. Mike couldn't make it today, and Kenny is, of course, at his daughter's graduation. So I brought in a good friend of mine who we used to play games and do a lot of shit together, and been a best friend of mine for about 15 years,
something just like that. About, yeah.
Since
high school, so long ago.
Since freshman year high school. This is Jonathan Troup, aka my best buddy Kool-Aid. How you doing today, man? You doing okay?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I just finished helping out with my grandparents and my family with stuff, and then I headed over here and I'm loaded up on coffee, so I'm ready to go.
Cool. So, I asked you earlier, like a few days ago, if you would be willing to catch up on this for me when I learned that I was going to be solo today, and thankfully you were able to. Luckily, the seasons are really short, so it was really, like I said, 9 episodes.
Yeah, it was it was pretty easy to catch up on the show because I honestly I never watched the show before you asked, because like my only exposure to Interview with a Vampire was the movie that came out in the 90s, and not saying it's a bad movie, it's just a movie that wasn't for me. So I kind of really just put it off when they announced that they were doing a show. I was just like, oh, that's neat. Probably not going to watch it. But then you suggested, hey, you should probably watch this show. And I was planning on it. But then when you asked, I figured, all right, fine, I can knock this show out. And I'm pretty impressed right now.
Good. Yeah. Much like Kenny and me, you were a fan of the horror stuff, more so than him. Kind of on the level with me, we like to just kind of revel in the crazy, absurd, horrific bullshit, ranging from like top tier A24 productions to just the drizzling shits.
Oh, you know me, I love my horror. I mean, hell, I just went through the Reanimator series a couple of days ago because I was on a Jeffrey Combs kick, and
they happen.
I love those movies. They're great.
Oh man. Let's see. Let's check out the comments. What's going on, Cookies Batty? How you doing today? Producer getting fit. Yeah, we're trying out some new shit. Trying to look a little bit professional. All right. Fine. All right. Before we start, I have to do something for this real quick. We usually do predictions for pay-per-views, and on my stream yesterday, I was gonna give the chat their picks, but I forgot to do it. So real quick, Batty, I'm gonna give you yours, and then we're gonna get started. But don't be getting all pissy. There you go. All right. So yeah. Before we get started, to kind of get people in a mindset to know you and know your general feeling on this genre, what would you say is your favorite horror movie, and what is a horror property right now you would encourage someone to get involved with?
Shit. I mean,
I should have given you a preview
right now.
Well, we were just talking about one.
Yeah, well, if I would have to say my favorite horror movie, I would probably have to go with the Friday the 13th franchise. I love those movies. Those are just close to my heart. Too bad I'm never going to get that Friday the 13th movie I want. It's never going to happen, but hey,
you're getting the Jason universe, isn't that?
Yeah, I'm just oozing with excitement on that one.
Isn't that what you wanted?
I just want a Jason movie. I just want Jason killing teenagers. Is that too much to fucking ask? I
want this guy in a hockey mask to slaughter people below the age of 20 for my amusement.
Another property I like is Scream, and with all the stuff that's going on with that right now, I'm kind of losing faith in the next movie. So I'm just like, I can't have anything. But right now, the good thing Chucky exists, because Chucky's fucking great.
Yeah, Chucky is fantastic. I can't remember, was it you that told me to give it a shot? It had a season by the time, I think 2021 they started season 2.
Yeah,
2021
just around that time.
And I had been avoiding it because I just like, I didn't really appreciate Chucky up to that point. And then I saw like all the dead meat videos talking about all the Chucky kill counts. And I realized, like, oh, this is actually kind of an interesting series. Maybe I was a bit too harsh on it. And then while I was in the hospital, USA Network would play Chucky on marathon, like the entire season. So I ended up just watching the whole season, the whole first season.
Well, like with the Chucky franchise, it was a franchise that I've seen. It's just something that it was just like, okay, it's a doll. How is a doll like fucking scary? And then when they started going with the Bride of Chucky and onwards, that's when they started really going into the comedy side of it. And then it went way over the rails with Seed of Chucky. And then they decided to dial it back with Curse and Cult. And then the show picks up after the events of those movies. But like, it's not until I got older until I started to appreciate what those movies were.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid and I watched those movies, I liked them, but it was just like, what's so scary about a doll? But now that I'm older and I can appreciate the art of film, it became quickly one of my favorite shows that's on right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, how many horror TV shows are there? Good ones? Not a lot.
No,
not many.
I mean, like the last good one that was based off of like a movie or a property was the Hannibal show.
Yeah, Hannibal was good,
which gives me kind of faith with the Crystal Lake show because it's supposed to be made by the same people. And I was just like, okay. And A24 is supposed to be producing it. So it might be good, but it's not what I want.
Like, I just don't understand. We don't need a prequel to Jason, man. Like, that was the first movie was your prequel to Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially. We don't need any more. We don't need to know about his life as a kid. We don't need to see it. But maybe you're right. Because I was probably saying the same shit about Chucky when they announced the TV series. Like, we need a Chucky TV show. We did. Well, it was very good.
The Chucky franchise is unique because it's one of the few horror properties that actually cares about its continuity. Like, all the movies are canon to the show. Like they don't shy away from anything that they've done in the movies. So, and you don't really see that a lot with horror properties. They always either get rebooted or they come out with sequels that throw away like other movies that were part of the canon. And not many horror franchises actually, try to keep true with what the story is. And it's also added to the fact that the same person has been making these movies since the beginning. So it's kind of like his baby.
Yeah. Because now we've seen a lot of like the requels and things coming out over the past 15 years, I guess. We've had a lot of them. Especially the past five or six, where it's just been a major trend to do. And it's like, all right, well, the first 2 movies in this 15 film series counts. The rest of it's just, it didn't never happen.
It's because Halloween was popular.
Yeah.
Like when they did that prequel and everyone saw how much money it made, they're like, oh, we should do this with every other franchise. It doesn't matter. Let's fucking do it with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm sure that's going to go over well. We could just copy what Halloween did.
Oh God, that was the worst fucking. We've argued about that with a good friend of ours many, many times. But we're getting off topic. We can talk about this shit all day.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
talk about episode 2 now. Before we talk about that episode 2 of this season, you just caught up this week. So overall, how are you feeling about the series?
so it's good. I do enjoy it. It's just there are just some things that's just attacking my mind goblins with the world building, which it's just minor nitpicks that I'm sure no one else like cares about. But for me, it's just like, why do they have to do these things? Like for example, they don't need to sleep in coffins. The whole thing with the coffins, it never gets explained like why they need to sleep in coffins other than the fact that it's just for pure aesthetic. Because like with another vampire show, What We Do in the Shadows, they talk about is like, oh yes, we have to sleep in our coffins with the soil from our motherland or else we lose our vampire powers. They explain it there. In this, if I remember correctly in the movie, they never really explain like, hey, coffins, sleep in them.
Yeah, it's just kind of part of it's just the shit you do. Yeah. it's part of the aesthetic of the vampire aesthetic. You got to have a coffin.
Yeah, it's just like,
which they end up in the first episode of this season. Louis ends up going, we were sleeping in the ground, didn't have a coffin. We just wake up from the cold ground and rise up and start our night. But also the idea of like them, Louis and Lestat sleeping in the same coffin was interesting.
That makes story sense. Which I will have to say, I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards because the movie, because it came out in the 90s, they really had to downplay the whole, oh, are they gay or are they just friends? Now this show's like, no, they're full on gay. At least Louis is. Lestat seems like he'll just fuck anything with a hole.
Yeah, anything that has a skirt on it, he'll or pants, anything that walks.
But like all the actors are great. I really like Lestat. The actor that they got playing him looks like a combination of Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, which makes me just go like, did they do that on fucking purpose?
I think they did.
Because like as I'm watching it, there are just glances at times with Lestat. I was just like, he looks just like freaking Brad Pitt from the movie in some shots. And then there are some shots where he looks like Tom Cruise, who played Lestat in the original movie. I also really like Claudia. I liked her actress in season 1, and I like the actress they got for season 2. I understand why they had to recast her, but there's one thing. There's one thing about her that it throws me off, and it's her accent.
Yeah. All right. So real quick about the accent. So I was under the assumption maybe they had gotten someone who just naturally has that accent.
Oh no.
And that like she couldn't really work. She's, it's fine. It's close enough. She is from the UK, she's
British.
Yeah. So that's the accent she chose to go with over what they had the original Claudia working with, which was more like Louisiana.
It had a Southern Belle type of accent to it. Like it had like some French undertones. It felt like a believable Louisiana Southern accent. But when you told me that she sounds like she's coming from Macon, Georgia, I can't fucking unhear it now. Like whenever she talks, I'm just like, wow, this is a voice I would hear in the fucking backwoods. Right.
Man.
That's the only thing. She's great as replacing for a great replacement for Claudia, but it's just that accent is just, it's kind of like, I'm not necessarily nails on a chalkboard for me, but it's definitely a distraction.
Yeah, you do notice it. You do. I do wonder if I hadn't said anything, maybe it wouldn't have been as bad for you. But I believe I did the same thing with Kenny, my usual co-host, and he kind of gave me shit for it. It is a noticeable difference. But she is at great as Claudia. Yes, she's done a fantastic job. So this episode started off with we're talking about Louis and Claudia. It's been 5 months essentially since they got to Paris.
Yeah.
And Armand and Louis are now talking to Daniel Malloy as a couple. Armand, at the end of the first episode of this season, said he was willing to sit down and do this with Louis. And Daniel is still kind of like prodding and poking the bear when it comes to Armand.
Yeah, because like for one, he doesn't trust him. The entire first season, he was being lied to about him. Even though he kind of is this like, there's something ain't right about you throughout the entire first season. Like there's like one bit where he's Louis feeding on Armand, who at this time is Rashid, and he's just and Malloy, he just goes like, so what's up with you? Because when Louis was feeding on the huge muscle-bound guy, he almost collapsed from exhaustion afterwards. You barely weigh 130 soaking wet. How are you still up and standing?
Yeah. And it's a good question. And it's something that I'm sure people that were watching it live obviously felt the same way about it. Like there's something different about it.
Oh, like when he started acting weird throughout the interview process, I was just like, there's something up with this guy. I just can't put my finger on it because I'm not familiar with the books or anything. My only context is for the movie. It was just something about this guy. it ain't clicking.
Yeah. In the movie and in the books, obviously, Armand plays a very important role and a big part of the story that we're getting close to. But yeah, it starts off with them talking to Daniel, and Daniel just keeps poking and prodding the bear. And honestly, if I knew vampires were real and that they were sitting across me, I would not be so fucking antagonistic towards them. But that's just how Daniel is. He's a very aggressive old man.
He doesn't want to fool around with the bullshit. He wants to get straight to the facts. Like in the first season, when Louis kept him like hanging on a thread about whether or not he ate his fucking
baby,
baby, he constantly goes like, "But did you eat the baby?" Yeah. and Louis just keeps going on and on, like with all these different platitudes, and Malloy's just going like, "But did you eat the baby though? I don't care about all this other stuff you say. You leaving out, did you eat the baby?"
Because I mean, did he eat the baby? That's a very important question. And he says he didn't. And he might not have, but with the way that he's been lied to so far, it's understandable that he would feel this way for sure.
Yeah, like because doesn't his sister say that she lost the baby like later on when they meet up in like, what was it, the graveyard?
Maybe something. Maybe she said it's been awesome I've seen that season, but she might have. There's enough holes in his story that Daniel can like make up his own mind essentially about.
Well, it's definitely.
Go ahead.
It's definitely relying on an unreliable narrator. That's
absolutely.
Like we're having to go on the word of Louis, who from outside looking in, it doesn't seem like he has any good reason to lie about all the stuff he's saying, but he's not gonna full out give out the whole truth. Like there's gonna be some things he's gonna leave out, like with what happened with Claudia when Claudia went on her own. He was not going to have Malloy bring that up at all. He's not going to have him read the torn out journal pages. He's just like, you're not going to know, which good on him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a private and horrific moment that, you know, that's hers and hers alone to share and discuss. It's like the night that he got with the army boy. Lewis's memory isn't exactly correct, whether he's hiding stuff or not. Yeah, not only is he been proven that he does hide things, he also just doesn't fully remember things exactly as they happen. Because in the last episode, he mentioned that Claudia was there at the table when the Romanian woman mentioned that there's something terrible in the night, right?
Yeah.
And then later on, he goes, wait, that's not how that happened, because she thought Claudia was a kid. She wouldn't have said that. So like we've seen a few episodes where he has to replay the spot, and we see a different version of how things play out.
You got to think about it like this: like when you live to be like hundreds of years old, like your memory can only go back so far. Like you can struggle trying to remember something 20 years ago. Yeah, think about from his perspective, he's trying to remember things from like 70, 80 years ago.
I forgot what I had for lunch yesterday. Like, I can only imagine. Yeah.
Like it's not going to be a perfect retelling of his memory. Even to him, he can't even relay it properly or correctly.
Was it raining, Louis? Yeah, exactly. Good to see you back in the comments. What's up? Yeah, so they're talking about Paris, and Daniel keeps saying Paris sucks. It's the worst. And we end up seeing later why he has this feeling of Paris. But he's basically saying Paris blows. And Louis says there were scars that were healing from the war. Armand's trying to talk about how lively it can be despite all the atrocities they went through. And Daniel is just kind of having none of it, because that's just how Daniel is. Louis ends up being approached by Armand after 5 months. He's in a park alone, and Armand walks up to him, and Louis says to Daniel he thought that he was going to kill him. He could sense that Armand was a strong, ancient vampire, and that he assumed he was dead on the spot. And Armand, first thing he says is, "I'm not going to hurt you." Hands him a card, and it's Armand, director artistique of the Theatre des Vampires, however the hell I'm sure I bought the shit out of that, but basically it's just his business.
French for, hey, it's a vampire show.
Come see the vampires.
Come see the vampires.
So up to this point, Claudia and Louis have been looking for any sign of more of their kind. Last episode we saw them going through, specifically Claudia. Yeah. Went through the whole thing with Darciana, who ended up burning herself alive in front of them after just
I'm proud of you
centuries
for
of depression.
Getting her name.
Darciana, yeah,
because I didn't get her name at all. I think like in like my head it was just like Romanian woman. Romanian vampire.
Yeah, they had that song of like Anna, don't let her see you or whatever. Mm. So people thought it was Anna, but she does say her name is Darciana. So they go to the play, and Louis describes it, and he's talking about how they're using like movies and motion pictures to like assist the live acting performance. And then he says the plays were weird. Armand says the plays were timeless. They were weird. They were just always ending in death or some kind of violence. And Armand says life is cruel, life is violent. Which,
to be fair, they're vampires, of course. Like all their plays are going to end in death. That's what they do. That's the essence of being a vampire. Death is a fact of life with them, or unlife in this point. But like
life and death are, it's yin and yang, and with vampires more so. They live with death in a different realm, but they live with it every single day because they have to survive.
I just want to point out Claudia's fucking reaction to this play. Like, like Louis, he's not even focused on the play. He's more focused on Armand up in the balcony, like as they're eyeing each other. But Claudia is watching this play go on like she's looking into the face of God. And it's like the most amazing thing she's ever seen. Jaw dropped, eyes bug open. It's just like I couldn't help but laugh because it just looked so goofy to me. It was just like this is funny right here.
So the first time you see a kid go to Disney World,
exactly,
Disneyland, and they're just everything is amazing. That's why we titled this one Claudia's Wonderland, because that's what it is to her. It is just
we haven't even gotten to the murder mansion yet.
So real quick before I forget about it, when this episode aired on Sunday, me and Kenny were messaging each other, and we got to the murder mansion. And we both considered it one of the funniest things we've probably seen in this entire show.
Oh, that whole scene was pure fucking comedy.
It was fantastic.
I love that type of comedy where like something serious is going on in the foreground, but goofy, wacky shit is happening in the background. Like I love that juxtaposition of like tone. It's so great.
Yeah. It really is. Fantastic. You're correct. I'm sorry. I apologize for getting that wrong. So yeah, they get to near the end of the play. It's the final play of the night. And this woman runs on stage. This French woman screaming and begging for help. Everybody here is a vampire. They're all here. They're going to kill all of us. And of course, because of what the play's been so far, what the night's been so far,
everyone thinks it's just another act. It's just another part of the play.
Yeah, and except for Louis and Claudia, they kind of catch on quick.
And like another standout for this episode is Santiago, the lead like actor of the play, played by Ben Daniels, who. He's been in other stuff, but stuff that I haven't seen. Apparently, he was in the Exorcist show that came out in 2016 as Father Marcus. But
interesting.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, so I couldn't really tell you. I'm just looking up his stuff on IMDb, but him as Santiago was great in this episode.
I think it was House of Cards, maybe.
What?
I think it was in House of Cards. That's probably the only thing I've ever seen him.
Yeah, it's on his IMDb that he was on House of Cards. Okay. He was also apparently in Rogue One, the Star Wars movie. But like, besides all that, he was fantastic in this episode. Like when he's giving that monologue to the victim of the play, like I was captivated. I was just like, this guy gets it. This guy knows exactly what his character is. He's playing it to a T.
Absolutely. Even the way he opens the show, it's very campy, but then he gets serious. You're all disgusting creatures to me. You're all vile humans.
That's why I love you.
That's why I love you. Oh my God. Like, how do you not get captivated by that guy immediately? Anyway, the woman's trying to plead for her life, and Santiago says, well, who would take your place? Your husband? And she goes, no, not him. Your kid? It's like, I can't, I would never. And then he points to a random guy in the audience. What about him? And she's like, yeah. And then he kneels down and gets eye to eye level with this guy. Just remember, when you go into service and you go confess your sins or whatever it was.
It's when you go to greet your neighbor.
Go to greet your neighbor.
Yeah.
Thank you. How quickly they will sell you out.
That's so good.
God.
That's
My
so
God.
good.
Jesus. What a line. He walks back over and he says, "It's not his time, it's yours."
Like, nice try, Bucko, but it ain't. That ain't it.
It ain't happening. Claudia is just amazed. Like you said, she was just entranced. She was in a world of bewildered wonder. She was happy, it seemed like, for the first time in decades.
Well, this is what she's exactly been looking for. She's been looking for other vampires, and now not only is she finally seeing what she wants, but she's seeing the spectacularness, the wondrousness of the fact of a group of vampires who are having fun being vampires. Like these guys love being vampires. They love to do it. And like she gets even more of that later on in the episode.
Yes, she does. So they end up sucking this woman bone dry. The entire coven, just except Armand, just takes her out, and then they do the bow. They're clapping
her through a trap door.
It's like, oh my God.
You got to finish her for later, you know?
Absolutely. That's it's fantastic. They go to the back, and Armand introduces them, and Santiago. First off, real quick, I didn't notice this the first time. I was like half paying attention in the first time I saw the episode. When he talks about the father and son that are with them, and Louis says, "Wait, hold on." And Armand goes, "Yeah, that's right. The father looks younger than the son because the son wanted to wait until he was ready to like be a star actor or something like that." And so the older man is actually the son of this like 20-year-old looking vampire, and they have a pretty fun little back and forth.
It has a nice little dynamic. I hope we see more of it.
Yeah, I think almost everybody that we got like just a little bit of screen time with from that troupe were just so fucking fun to listen to. And then Santiago asks them who their maker is. So for some reason, and we learn soon after this, for some reason Claudia and Louis decide to lie. Claudia claims that their master is oh my God.
She said,
I'm trying to go through
Ben or
Bruce.
Something.
It was Bruce. Bruce was
yeah.
the I was trying to I'm going through my notes. Bruce, the vampire that
I remember it was Bruce because I was just like, oh my God, Batman.
Shut up. Bruce was the vampire that assaulted Claudia in episode 5 of the first season.
Yeah.
And then Louis says, "Yeah, we met in Chicago, or somewhere thereabouts." Like making sure that, like, all right, they weren't even near
Louisiana, but you got them accents though.
Yeah, you definitely. Yeah, one of them has the accent. The other one is from fucking Georgia.
Yeah, those two southern accents don't really go well up in Chicago.
The
best.
And then Claudia adds to it Darciana's death and says, "We don't like to talk about it. He threw himself in front of a fire, or into a fire in front of us." And Armand has this line he gives Santiago, is like, you went for blood and ended up drawing air. So it's basically like the idea of like if you've ever had a moment where a nurse is trying to like draw your blood and they either miss the vein or it's just not pumping for them, you know?
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm sure I know you do. That's from my watching. And then Claudia says, "Who is that handsome man in that painting?" And we pan over, and it's a painting of Lestat de Liancourt. I always fuck his name up because I can't do the
Lestat de Liancourt.
But it's Lestat.
Yeah.
And Daniel, we cut to Daniel going, no fucking way. Are you serious? And he's half like, oh, this is soap opera. But he's also kind of a little bit, he's like, no fucking way. And
like, what are the fucking odds here? Like, you found, and after all this time in Europe, you only found a group of vampires, and they just so happened one of their co-leaders was Lestat. Like that is way too convenient to be a coincidence.
yeah, exactly.
It's part of Malloy's character goes like, that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, there's no fun. Like he could not believe that actually happened. He even like picks. You can see him on his laptop while Armand's trying to discuss the importance of Armand to the theater, which he was one of the co-founders with Armand, and was there for many years. Daniel was playing this like sappy piano soap opera music. He's like, let's turn on to channel 300 and go to Univision. And Louis says, yeah, he knew Lestat. Armand was even with Lestat for a time. You're sharing the, like Batty says in the comments here, you shared a boyfriend. Oh, this is rich. This is unbelievable. Are you kidding me?
Well,
no.
Armand made it clear he's been with Louis longer than he was ever with Lestat.
He also makes it clear that he was also with everybody that was in that troupe, and he even mentions, "Yeah, I was with a father-son duo too. We were in the back of the theater."
When you're an ancient vampire, like at that point, why the fuck not? Like
gotta spice shit up.
You're cursed with eternal life. Why not just enjoy the smorgasbord of ass that you can get as an immortal vampire?
Exactly. And even when he mentions the father-son duo, Louis looks over at him and goes, did you really? I go, what?
I like Louis just go like, okay, what exactly is your body count?
Not, normally I wouldn't ask that question, but now I gotta
tested.
Know. So after spending a great night with them, Louis and Louis and Claudia leave, go back to the hotel room, and Claudia gets onto Louis for having a weak open mind because vampires read minds.
Mm-hmm.
And that he needs to rein that shit in a little bit because she wants to go back. Because like you said, these vampires love being vampires. They revel in what their lifestyle is. We've seen the other episode we saw
evil and they love it.
Yeah, the camp it's a camp. It really is. We've seen vampires in this show that consider this like a curse, and like we saw what happened to Darciana. Like, we don't rule the night, we rule nothing. She just given up on herself.
I mean, Lestat was like that in season 1. He wanted to be his true self, but he dialed it back for Louis because Louis is just fucking abhorrent to violence. He does not like killing people. He would rather kill rats and birds and whatnot rather than to kill a human being. And Lestat, as best as he could, tried to dial that side of him back, but even at times he's just going like, yeah, I killed this guy, and no, he's dead, he's just twitching. I broke his spine.
God, I am glad we're still getting little bits of Lestat
yeah,
because man, I was gonna miss that actor so much. God, he's so good.
Well, like I watched the after episode part of I've only seen it for this season. I didn't watch it for the first season, but in the first episode, the actor playing Lestat went on to talk about how when he's being the vision of Lestat to Louis, he's also taking on Louis's mannerisms and like certain things of like how his body language works and like some of the things that he says just so it can clue into the audience that even though he's acting like Lestat, he's acting like Lestat through Louis. Like it's Louis's version of Lestat. And that's something as an audience we shouldn't forget. Like, even though we're seeing this vision of Lestat throughout the rest of this season, that's not actually how Lestat is. And Lestat probably wouldn't be so happy about being left for dead.
Yeah. Which he does we do kind of hear that in the lesson a little bit when he says it was a perfect betrayal. But I am coming to fucking kill you.
Oh yeah.
So even then he still knows, like, yeah, Lestat is this vicious, vindictive motherfucker. He's probably going to come seek revenge. But Claudia is telling him that, like, this place is this is what we're supposed to be. This could be home.
Could be our home for us.
And the way that they act and the way that they carry themselves is what we should do. We should take pride in being vampires. Louis, of course, says it's a dangerous place because of the whole Lestat thing. Lestat.
But Louis is more focused on Armand than anything else. He's like, he could care less about the troop of vampires. It's Armand that he's purely focused on because Louis thirsty.
Yeah. Louis is it's been a while.
Louis is liking him some Armand. And as the episode shows, Armand likes some of Louis himself because they're still together in the present day.
At this point, Daniel is continuing to, like, mock a little, like, kind of tear apart the story. Louis mentions going to whatever that business is that was wiring money to Lestat over the years.
It was like a lawyer group or something. It was someone dealing with Lestat's estate, pretty much.
Yeah, and there was a letter left that was essentially, I guess it was for Louis.
It was addressed to, like, to my lover or something on the envelope. So this is something that Lestat had for a while, that he just knew one day it's gonna come where I will be dead and I'll need to leave some type of note to whoever I'm with at the time, because Lestat likes to fuck everything. So, like,
you can't stop it.
It wasn't addressed to Louis.
It was just his lover.
It was pretty much a to whom it may concern.
Yeah. But again, he has that vision of Lestat in his head, talking about the letter, and then Daniel again butts in. And earlier in the episode, they kind of go into his head a little bit because something made him think of a memory of him in Paris.
Yeah.
And this time Louis is just furious because Daniel will not stop prodding and poking and aggravating them about this shit. So he goes after Daniel. And what we've realized is the night that Daniel was thinking of was the night that he was going to propose to someone. And I believe she was also pregnant, is what was mentioned before.
If I remember
at the time,
it was something along those lines.
But
the big thing was that she said no.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because she didn't like him. It's just she didn't like. I think
Armand, she didn't trust him.
She didn't trust him.
Yeah, and Armand says she didn't trust him.
Man, like we've witnessed that pretty much same exact scenario in real life, where someone went to go propose and they said no.
Yes, we did.
It was the most awkward thing. Oh man.
Oh my God. Yeah, that is an experience that we're probably never going to forget.
I love it. It's
great. Because, like, yeah, you don't know, because you know what you're going to do when they have court, you're like, obviously they're going to say yes, and we're going to have a big celebration. And when they don't, you weren't planning on what you're going to do if they say no, right? Like,
especially if you're really in love with this person and you think, oh, this is going to be like, how could she say no to this? We both love each other. And then when you pull out the ring and they go, not here, or no.
Oh God. What? Spill, please.
Oh man.
We can't give away too many details.
No.
Someone watching this knows.
People that we know personally and
but
and everything.
But we have definitely seen that go down.
We've seen this happen in real time.
If you've never seen that, I hope you never have to, because Jesus, what a weird car ride home that was.
They had to drive home together that night too.
I was about to
say. They had to drive home together that night because they drove together, and it was so bad.
Oh my God, what an awful car experience that had to be. Oh Jesus, that was, I actually forgot for a second that happened. Oh God, yeah, that. and man, we thought that guy had a perfect proposal.
Well, it was apparently like where they went on their first date.
Yeah, it was so nice, and yeah, you never know. Just if you're ever one of those friends that's like, they're gonna go propose and we gotta, we're gonna be there. Just
be there when she decides to run off in one complete direction. Just be there to catch your bro.
Yeah, because
your bro's gonna be super sad.
Yeah, we struggled. We were there for him, but we just didn't know what to fucking say.
I can't remember who it was, but someone came up to him and was like, do you want to get like a churro or something? Do you want to get a churro?
It was one of their mutual friends. Yeah. Go get a churro, dude. Cheer you up. Like, yeah. Let's go get that Krispy Kreme burger. That'll really help you out. Just go ahead, and your heart's already broken. Let's go ahead and just kill it. Finish it off.
Hey, you know what fixes a broken heart? The extra cholesterol that you get. That'll pack those cracks right in.
Oh God.
The heart won't ache when it stops pumping.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, so they break Daniel of this tragic moment in his life.
I just realized your heart won't break if it's not pumping should be a great tagline for this show.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. I might steal that actually.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Louis says, would you like to know what she thought of you then? If she thinks of you at all now? And like,
that was such a cold line. That was like, I felt the pain there. Because what if he said yes? What if he wanted to know and he just goes like, she doesn't think of you at all. You're not even a blink in her mind. Man, that would have been devastating.
Oh my God,
but
dude.
Armand is there to like rein him back. He's just like, now, dear, don't traumatize the poor guy. You're the one who invited him here in the first place.
Yeah. We in the preview for the latest episode, for the preview leading up to the second episode, there was this point where Daniel's at a bar and someone says Armand isn't the one you want to be worried about, trying to like hint that Louis is the one that's more aggressive and will be the one to like snap. And I figured we were going to see that this episode, and we didn't, but it was again in the previews for the next episode. So I'm wondering when that's going to happen.
It's something that they're going to be building up probably into at least probably the second to last episode of the season.
Yeah.
Like, because Armand's only there to not only protect Louis from pretty much himself, but he's also there to make sure that Louis doesn't give away like too much information. Like that's how I feel like, and the reason why he's there. He's just like, yeah, I'll participate in this interview just to make sure, just keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't spill too much information. Because he doesn't want people knowing vampires are a thing. Like, why does he want his, like, he's been an ancient vampire for hundreds of years. He doesn't want people to know that they're out there because that's a huge thing.
Yeah, it is. Understandably, he would be upset, and they've mentioned before that like this could lead to, whatever vampires are coming for Louis, because it's one of their like cardinal rules of you never reveal yourselves to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was mentioned in the show, and it was also mentioned in the movie and in the book. This is somewhat of like a suicide note to Armand thinks. He kind of considers it like a suicide note for Louis. Well, this I guess it would be the show because just the show because I think in the other ones Armand wasn't fucking there for the interviews.
Yeah,
but he considers this like Louis' suicide note because like the second this goes out and is published, Louis will be hunted for breaking this cardinal sin. And we have mentioned on here before, Kenny and I, that like if you've seen the film or if you read any of the books, you know that a big death happens because a cardinal rule of the vampires is broken.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a brutal one. It's intense. It's pretty rough. So
wait to see how that's going to play out in this show.
Yeah, really interested to see what goes on there.
That's going to be like the final episode of this season, that event.
Probably.
I'm guessing so.
Yeah, they're definitely dragging it out enough to where that's probably going to be like leading us into the next season. So despite being nervous and worried about everything, Louis and Claudia do go with Armand and the troupe on a hunt. And Louis had mentioned before that he's gotten into photography at this point. And Armand says something along the lines of a vampire with a hobby. How ridiculous. Which I guess Armand is of the belief that like your only goals in life should be that of whatever a fucking vampire would want, which I guess would be fucking power and blood. I guess it's just those three things.
He's more disgusted by the fact that the hobby he decided to take up is such a human hobby.
Yeah.
Like, because they don't really need pictures because they're lifelong. They don't need snapshots of themselves. They're not going to change throughout. Why would they need a picture? They're living in the moment. And he even tells him that is like Louis, put the camera away. Be in the moment with us right now.
He does say that.
Enjoy the life.
Yeah. They pull up to this big mansion, and Armand says that this is the manor owned by the family de Lacroix. Lacroix. Again, sorry for this.
Some French name.
Family de Lacroix. Fat cats who essentially sit on their wealth while the commoners suffer. They mentioned that the commoners
love drinking seltzer water.
They're wasting away on like ration tickets while these people are like living big in while feeding off the black market.
Yeah.
So essentially going, we're doing the world a favor by doing what we're about to do tonight. These two girls walk up and they try to tell them to leave, and Armand just sicks Santiago on them, and he calmly walks up, slices one's throat, then he sticks his fingers in the back of one of the other one's like skull,
Mm.
and is like reading the information of the house. I was like, oh, 16 people, men and women. There's
4
guns in
bedrooms.
4 bedroom. There's guns in this place, and drops them. And then I was like, all right, go feast. And Claudia asked if Louis coming. He says, I'm full. I ate before I came.
I ate before I came, but you go have fun though.
And he kind of like gestures over to Armand, and Claudia's like, yeah, okay.
Like, stop cock blocking me here. Go.
This is one of like my favorite scenes. Probably not even just this show, just in general. It's so fucking funny.
So apparently, like in the after episode where they talk about this scene, and the actress who plays Claudia, she's going like, yeah, they brought us into the mansion for the scene, and the director just goes like, y'all are vampires, go be vampires. And that was the whole scene of them just pure chaos inside, all the while like Armand and Louis are flirting with each other. We're seeing like people being thrown out of windows, people banging on windows, and be like Claudia jumping on this random guy on the balcony. and I just love my favorite shot of it was the camera panning over, and you see like I think it was Santiago is like attacking someone behind a bush, and then when he comes out from the bush, you just see him holding a head. And like Louis and Armand are just not paying attention. But
the scream I screamed when that guy got his head taken off, and the vampire was doing a game of keep away with the guy's still moving body. So
just it was, and it just, like I said, I watched the Reanimator movies this past week, and that whole scene just reminded me of like the dark comedy of the Reanimator movies, because there's a whole scene in that movie where there's a reanimated guy without a head, and he's like having to direct his body to do stuff, and the body's just stumbling around all over the place. And it's just it was by far my favorite scene of this show.
Yeah, God, it was just so. The first one you see, you mentioned the balcony part, which is fantastic. The first one you hear the screams while Armand and Louis are just talking about themselves, and Armand basically tells Louis like, "I know about Lestat. I know about that." Just trying to think about him.
He just goes like, your body language just gave you away when we even mentioned Lestat. Yeah. So like you gotta do better, because even though I get it, everyone else isn't gonna get it, and they're gonna kill you if they find out.
Yeah. Which spoiler. Tiny spoiler. But yeah, no. And I think even Lestat mentioned Claudia being more closed off than Louis.
Yeah, like Claudia has more control over her telepathy. Yeah, like she's able to, like, in the show, all the vampires have like distinct powers and whatnot. And for Claudia, her distinct power is the control of her telepathy. Don't really know what Louis is yet.
Louise is just being lucky as shit to not be dead yet, I think is what we're looking at. Side note, we hadn't talked about the first season that much. I did want to mention that one of my favorite moments in the first season was when Louis goes to that alderman guy's house to kill him, and he shoots Louis, and Louis goes, "I'll let you reload. Go ahead."
Yeah, just like take your time.
Perfect. But one of my favorite parts in this scene is as they're talking about all of this, the camera pans up to look at the window, and you just see Like it's still Louis and Armand are the center of it.
They're
all.
on the forefront of the shot.
Yeah, but it's even like a little blur in the back. Like they kind of don't want you to focus too much on it, but they really do. You just see this guy get bam up against the window, and then you just see blood splatter all across it, and he's like banging on the window for help. It's
Like,
just not coming.
it was hard for me to pay attention to what Armand and Louis were talking to each other about because I was more focused on what was going on in the background. Like,
Yeah,
it was shots like these that just like clearly they want you to go and see this scene more than once to notice all the little tidbits of what's going on.
God, it was just so damn entertaining. God, it was so entertaining. And Claudia had a great time. She comes back and it's like, again, like a kid at fucking Disney World. Just
fucking Christmas for her.
this is how we should live, Louis. This is what I want to be. This is life. This is living. Like she's going crazy, just happy. Louis, as they're driving off, is a little concerned.
He's like, "Ooh, this is probably gonna be a red flag for later. Maybe we shouldn't turn children into vampires, guys."
Yeah, probably wasn't his best idea.
I mean, like in the books, she's supposedly younger than what she is
she's
in
like
the show.
5.
Yeah, like I was talking, like my moms are huge fans of this book series and show. My stepmom in particular has read every book and everything. She's full on knowledge of this. And yeah, like the one complaint she has, she's like, I just wish they made Claudia younger because that's how she was in the book. But then again, Armand is also portrayed younger in the book. Like he's supposed to be like around 15 years old in the book. Yes, my mom's my mom's a lesbian, so there you go.
Cookies is our resident very openly and horny as shit gay viewer.
Well, there you go.
So he many times he and Batty have gone off about Finn Balor's penis. So I don't know if you remember when we were watching wrestling back in the day. The camera would just like really get up on it when he was on the road.
I mean, they objectify the men as much as they objectify the women. So at least that they had that going for them.
Oh God, Cookies. Oh man. So yeah, that's the end of the episode. Just a great fucking hour of TV.
Episode. It was like so far there hasn't been a bad episode. Like trying to think. I would say like so far, like the weakest one would probably be like the first episode of this season, but only because like if the pacing was really slow to begin with the first episode of this season.
It was, but then by the last like 15 minutes,
it picks up. It's just when it first starts, it just like we get it. War is hell. We've seen this.
War never changes. War has changed.
We get this. Get on to the actual story, but they wanted to come across the fact like they've been in Europe for a while now. Yeah. Like because in the movies, it kind of goes like.
Bless you.
It kind of goes like that. They've only been in Europe for like a couple days. Like it doesn't portray that they stay in Europe for a while. And it's what they're doing in the show right now.
Yeah. I am glad we're going to get a good long. It feels like this is probably going to be, if it's not for the rest of the season, at least the next few episodes are going to be about their time in Paris. I did want to mention Armand states that the 5 months that they were just letting them roam in Paris. First off, you're apparently supposed to go meet the coven that's there, and Lou was like, well, "We didn't know that shit.
It's
We just
traditional.
fucking
It's like
yeah,
it's the custom. Like whenever you come to a new town, you need to introduce yourself to the coven so they know that hey, there's another vampire about because
yeah,
vampires tend to leave bodies and they
yeah,
even mention it to him. It's like, yeah, we've been cleaning up after y'all after you guys since y'all been here and y'all been leaving a fucking mess.
yeah." That's what I was getting at. Like he wanted to mention that, like, yeah, for 5 months y'all left quite a lot of evidence.
And to be clear, it's Claudia's mess because Louis doesn't feed on people. He feeds on the birds.
Yeah, Louis has mentioned he might go for like a body every now and then, but he's sticking to his bird and rat diet. Trying to be as humane as possible with it. And I guess that's going to be the next few episodes is just Claudia and Louis continuing to break apart as far as what they believe they should be.
Louis going insane with the visions of Lestat. So
I did like Daniel last episode because Louis, are you schizophrenic?
Oh yeah, like he clearly has some psychological issues going on. It's and it's probably due to the fact that Lestat was abusive and manipulative. I mean, like, but that's what his character was because he was also very captivating. He's the stereotypical abusive partner in a toxic relationship. And despite everything that Lestat has done to Louis, Lestat, I do believe Lestat truly does love Louis, just in his own way. And Louis just is trying to give a different kind of love back. And Lestat's just like, no, ew.
No, not like that.
Stop. Let me love you, love me. All right.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel mentioned that in the first season, like you're going through the steps of grief in like the opposite direction, where when he first met Louis in the 70s or 80s, he says you were angry. You called Lestat all kinds of like these names, and he was the worst part of your life, and your master was a dog, and now you're talking about him with this sort of like reverence and appreciation and honesty, like he's a completely different person. You went from anger to denial.
It's well, the whole steps of grief, they don't have to happen in a particular order. They'll come and did whatever steps they are. It's just generally they have the 5 steps. It just
and normally denial is the first thing.
Yeah.
Usually
it's the common reaction where you don't believe someone close to you is gone. Yeah. But it's typical of like abused partners to still look fondly on their abusive counterpart. Because like, yeah, the abuse was there, but there were also the good times. Like it's a touchy subject because it's such a real occurrence. Like,
yeah,
like you hear the common thing about cops going to abuse victims, and they just go like they constantly go like leave, like you're gonna end up dead, but they just don't leave.
Yeah,
and that could be a litany of reasons, but one of the reasons is that they truly love the person that's abusing them.
Yeah, it's something that whether most of us have probably known someone, unfortunately, that was going through shit like that, and I think this show does a really great job of getting that mindset across.
Like Louis is still haunted by his abusive ex.
Yeah, I mean, not even just back in time when they were in Paris. Now, today, he is still haunted by Lestat, even though he is, now with Armand and they kind of be happily married or in love, not married, but in love for 70 years. You can definitely tell that Lestat's still in his head a little bit. I think that about wraps it up for today.
That's pretty much the entire episode.
We went over a little bit, but it was good to kind of catch up and get to know you a little bit for our viewers. Any fucking social media you want to plug or anything before we? I know you don't really get on. You don't really have Twitter or anything.
I never hopped on the Twitter bandwagon. I only pretty much have Facebook.
Twitter is if I didn't have to use it for work, I would never use Twitter. It is. It is the shittiest.
I also have a Reddit, but that's just for me to browse like random stuff on Reddit. So it's not really.
We're not going to send them to look at your
aspect of it.
We're not going to send them to look at your Reddit porn. So.
I also have a YouTube, but that's just to keep up for subscriptions. I don't have like post videos or anything. Stuff.
Yeah, well,
I'm just existing in the real world.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. I didn't think. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't think you did. You're not chronically online, unlike me. So
I'm always happy to come and help out a friend when they need to talk about some type of horror shit. And you know me, I will go on and on about my favorite horror movies.
Well, we've done stuff before, streaming and whatnot, and games and shit. So if you ever want to come back on, if we ever want to actually do that thing for Chucky, would you mind doing that?
Yeah, I'll be totally down to do that.
Okay, cool. This is fun. All right, guys, that's going to be it for us today. If you want to know the next time we're going live, you can follow us at facebook.com/UnderTheRingPod or twitch.tv/UnderTheRingPod, where you will see our links, which is also at Linktree, also /UnderTheRingPod. I am at Greg Bush SK. You can find Kenny at RockRiz44. We've got our current predictions champion, Mike, the teacher man, at Mr. Freshbeard. My forever rival, the final Maddie, at The Right Answer. Tito, our street team captain, at Borreo Maliente. And last but not least, our good friend and local news correspondent, Justin D. Baxley. I believe WWE King and Queen of the Ring is happening right now. So I'm about to log off of here and go watch that and let everybody know what the fuck's happening with their predictions. If you're here for the first time and you don't follow us for wrestling, we do wrestling content Monday through Thursday. And on the weeks of pay-per-views, we do predictions. Chat has their own predictions champion who is currently Batty in the comments. Good luck with this weekend. You're probably going to lose it. I'm not a hater, I'm just being honest. So until next time, have a good weekend. Have a great
keep on keeping on.
Damn right. For everybody here at Under the Ring Pod, this is Mongo signing off. Peace.